today's Legal Minute with the Law Office of Cooley Shrair in Springfield. Today we're joined by attorney Robert Dambrove. We're talking about the difference between an employee and an independent contractor. So clarify, what is the difference?
An employee is someone who performs services for an employer under the employer's direction and control. An independent contractor is someone who is not really under the employer's direction or control, except as to the result to be obtained.
Now, are there any benefits to classifying someone as an independent contractor versus an employee?
Well, an employer can save a lot of money. They don't have to pay things like Social Security and unemployment taxes. They don't have to pay for workers' compensation coverage. They don't have to contribute towards someone's medical insurance or to their retirement plan, or even they don't have to pay overtime to someone.
So there's a lot of responsibilities that they don't have to worry about when someone is an independent contractor and not an employer.
Right.
Now, can they receive any consequences if they do classify someone as an independent contractor, or you don't actually follow through correctly with
right.
employee or independent
If they're
contractor?
wrong and the person is really an employee and
Right.
they haven't been doing what they're supposed to, yes, I mean, they can, the IRS and the state taxing authorities can assess fines and penalties for not taking required withholdings from pay. If the person was injured on the job, and they're not covered by workers' compensation, they can sue the employer, and the employer by law is not entitled to set up certain defenses. They can't even set up a defense that they were not negligent. The employee doesn't have to prove that the employer was negligent. All the employee basically has to prove is that they were injured, and that had they been considered an employee, they would have been covered by workers' compensation. If an employee was injured or someone in their family was injured and there are a lot of medical expenses, let's say somebody had cancer or had a serious injury, the employer will be responsible for those expenses.
It's so important for the employer to know and recognize what they're responsible for. And the employer itself cannot decide whether someone's an independent contractor or an employee. That is decided based on the criteria. So unfortunately, we're out of time, but this has been today's Legal Minute with attorney Robert Dambrove. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. For more information, call 413-781-0750 or visit CooleyShrair.com.